Hi everyone. Ooh, yes, hello. That's very loud. Hi. So I'm Paris. I'm from Lutruwita, Tasmania, which is Naarm's more popular and friendlier cousin down off the island at the bottom. I co-founded a studio called Secret Lab, which is nothing to do with the chair company, although we do get at least one support email or phone call about chairs every day. We are older than the chair company and we have the Australian trademarks, so good luck with that. I'm here to talk about a spin-off from a thing we did at Secret Lab many years ago. I don't know how to scroll this. I don't know if it's going to scroll though. Yeah, okay, that works. Hi, I'm from Secret Lab, and we spun off this thing called Yarn Spinner many years ago when we made it for Night in the Woods. So this thing was written to be a tool that allowed much less technical people to write video games for us, because we were working with people who were very clever, very intelligent, but were not necessarily programmers. And we wanted to make a way for them to write games. So we came up with this thing called Yarn Spinner, and it turned out to be really good and really popular. It's free, it's open source, this is not a sales pitch. I'm just going to show you how it works. So, Yarn Spinner is used in a lot of games you've probably heard of. These are some of them. We discovered recently that half of all the IGF winners since Yarn Spinner came out use Yarn Spinner. So we're not saying you should use Yarn Spinner to win an IGF, but it might work. We didn't make all these games, although we made some of them. Most of them are not ours. So, let's talk about how Yarn Spinner works. Syntax. This is not as technical as the other talk, so don't get too scared. Yarn Spinner is fundamentally a programming language designed for people who want to write content, not programmers. But it is a programming language, which is where the magic happens. Everything in Yarn Spinner is kind of wrapped in a thing called a node. A node has a title, and then whatever text inside it you want. A node can be a scene, a node can be a part of your story, a node can even be a single line. Anything goes in a node. Once you're inside a node, you can put some text or some comments. This is an empty node with a comment in it. A comment's nothing to do with the game, it just helps you remember what you're doing. Inside your node, you also put lines. Lines are probably the lines of dialogue your game is actually doing. So, when you have a line, you prefix it with a character name or not. Doesn't matter, we don't care. That's all you need to do. That's literally it. That's the entirety of the Yarn Spinner syntax. No, not really, but it does get a little more complicated, which is where the magic happens. So you can see here, this is the line you saw on the previous screen being displayed in a game. You can bring all this stuff into Unity. It's really powerful and really easy to bring into Unity, but we'll get to that in a minute. Once you have a line, you can put options below it, which is where the branching happens. So branches let you make this complicated dialogue tree that works in magic. It's magic. It's absolute magic, because when you have branches, you can choose things. You can choose parts of your conversation to speak. You can have your characters say different things, or you can just make your player be able to speak to people. On top of that, you can nest options within other options. So you can have this complicated layer of things. This is all still within one node, so that makes it very simple to think about your character talking to one player. But if you want to jump around, you can jump. So you can jump to other nodes with a jump statement where you just say, jump, name of a node. Very straightforward, very simple, nice way of storytelling. We have a Visual Studio Code extension. Does anyone know what Visual Studio Code is? Is that something that's familiar? Okay, great. Sometimes I talk to writers and they're like, what is that? That's not Word. That's not Google. Don't use any of those things. Visual Studio Code is a great free programming editor that we wrote an extension for that makes Yarn Spinner have all sorts of color-coded boxes and lines. Ooh, that's speaking. Boxes and lines, and you can visualize your story and make it really easy. It's totally free. This is the best way to write Yarn Spinner. Fantastic. There are lots and lots of other features that I have not covered because I want to talk about a few other things, but Yarn Spinner has variables and all sorts of stuff where you can roll dice and check things and do state and interpret variables into. I'm scared of this microphone. You can interpolate variables into lines and so on and so on. Lots of programming features that we've tried to keep really simple and friendly. Now, the best way to learn Yarn Spinner is not to go and install Visual Studio Code. It's to go to try.yarnspinner.dev. I'm not sure if you can see that. Try.yarnspinner.dev and use a web browser to write Yarn Spinner. And you can just plug it in on the left and it runs on the right. And when you're here, you can run the whole thing in the browser. And if you like what you run, you can then click a button, export it as a self-contained HTML file, and then attempt to get a job in AAA. It's very simple. Very easy, very fun way of sharing simple stories you've made with people. Now, I think it was this year. Was it this year? John's nodding. This year we decided we'd do like a tech company style April Fool's joke. So we made this thing called Yarn Spinner for Books, where we basically allowed you to export your entire Yarn Spinner story into a choose your own adventure book. So Under the hood on our server, this is running a full install of LaTeX, the typesetting software, and generating a fancy PDF underneath. But what this means is you can write a yarn spinner story with whatever features you like, including branching and variables and options and all the fancy stuff, and spit out a fully, beautifully typeset PDF of a choose your own adventure story. We even built a combination lock in this, where every time you typeset it, randomly sets the combination and generates hundreds of pages that let you unlock it. Very cool stuff. If you want to make a cool game, make it in books. You can also use Yarn Spinner in your engine. It supports Godot, Bevy for Rust, Unity, Unreal, whatever else is out there. Please feel free to do that. Thank you.